Hello, and welcome to your favorite Fox's Corner with your favorite Foxy Fail son, me. Alright, and today I felt comfortable in discussing a topic that has been very near and dear to my little heart, and that would be fame. Now, I know you're wondering, how does fame relate to really anything, right? Because, I'm a pretty new podcaster. I'm just kind of getting started in the industry. So everything's kind of new for me. And that's true, this channel only has a wonderful 10 subscribers, and I do thank all of you for following. Speaking of following, actually, I should mention it. Don't forget to visit our Twitter, visit our Instagram. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, and don't forget our new subreddit, our OK Buddy Bryfox. All in the description below. And if you can, our Patreon is available down below. Our first few videos will be publicly available for everybody. So, moving on. Alright, so fame is basically the topic for today. And I want to kind of, how do I say this politely? I want to show this to maybe a bigger audience, because I got kind of famous by furry standards. This is mostly for furries. So furry fame is a very superficial thing. It really just kind of resonates on the internet, and that's fine. But when you get it at a very young age, it can be very hard to mentally process. So I kind of understand the whole, forgive the language, but, the whole popufur thing. And for my credentials here, I'm going to say this. I did have, I was a very big fish in a small pond, and that pond was iFunny. iFunny, I had probably 500,000 impressions and 4.1 thousand subscribers. I've been featured twice on the app in their main post, and this was back when, iFunny wasn't, very trigger happy when it came to the featured section. I also had a sizable furry Instagram, which I will not name because the contents are old and not really, how do I say this politely? It's maybe not the most appropriate thing for a fox like myself. It's kind of ruins my image a little bit. But anyway, so my Twitter peak also right now is about 770 followers. If you want to follow at BryFoxy, you may. I had a side Twitter for a while, but that was deactivated. I think I had 100-something followers, and I had a Tumblr of about 1,000 followers that was also furry stuff for a while. But I think the crown jewel, really, of that fame was my iFunny. My iFunny was infamous. It was notorious, to put simply. And if you want me to say the beginnings of it, it was pretty far back. So I hit it big pretty young. I started with furry problems, and I started basically just after, and if you saw my first episode, you'll understand how this connects. It was from, I found a very high-quality furry art in the collective section. I found the account, and then I followed it. And, I just fell in love with the furry community on iFunny at the time. And then I started my own account listed as Furry Problems. So what ended up happening was I had gained, easily a couple hundred followers overnight. It was very fun. I loved every minute of it. But then, that kind of honeymoon period, at least for iFunny specifically, kind of left. And what I mean by that is that I got harassed constantly. Now, let me start off with bullying. Now, cyberbullying is obviously a big, hey man, just block and move on. And it's I at least over the years, developed a very thick skin over, hate comments. Some people just want you to feel bad. Some people are just there to make you, angry. And, I accepted that later on. But at the time, I took it very personally because I was very young and I didn't really have that sort of toughened and well-knowledged etiquette of the internet yet, especially social media. And especially iFunny, because iFunny is a very tough app, and it really doesn't care about your feelings. Twitter makes, Twitter basically cancels people every week or every day or something. I don't know. It feels like every day you hear about what did this for a Twitter do? What did this for a YouTuber do? I've been on the app long enough and I'm cynical enough to know what happens on Twitter. But iFunny, it is near impossible to be canceled on iFunny. Like, iFunny is the uncancelable place. And I understand why there's a kind of counterculture community in iFunny. But anyway, that's a different story for a different day. So to start off, I had about 1,000 followers on Furry Problems at its peak, and then I realized, oh, hey, I'm out of content. So it's basically a compilation place. I basically got together a bunch of sources from different apps and put them all together for iFunny in a very palatable way, because iFunny was pretty disorganized at the time. And I basically found everywhere I could find it, art, my own ramblings, I had a couple videos here and there that I did show in the flashbacks on this channel. If you saw the flashback videos, that was actually what it was referencing to. I did play a lot of Minecraft at that time, and I did show a video of my Minecraft world that I spent a lot of time on. Unfortunately, the world is gone now, so I can't retrieve it. But anyway, so how did I handle fame on iFunny? Not very well, at least at the beginning. So what happened was, I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of, being flirtatious because I was lonely and I wanted to hang out with people, and that's just who I am with furries, unfortunately. And what ended up happening was, obviously some people got very mad, some people got offended, some people were very uncomfortable, and I didn't really realize it because of my lack of social skills. But, I would eventually understand what was going on. But at first, there was a lot of harassment, and by a lot, I'm going to recount all of my stories. So I had my Kick linked to Furry Problems, and the thing was, I got harassed basically every day. My Kick would have a new message, and then a new message every single day. Often, I would check during school, and it was not fun. Like, I'm literally in the middle of math class. This was like middle school or something. And I would recall just getting messages saying, you should, I'm going to say in more censored and polite way, you should game end yourself, you should end yourself in Minecraft. You should, jump off a cliff in Minecraft, you should die in a video game, it's like stuff like that. And it was like that every single day, and that did wear me down. Often I was very naive. So iFunny does not recommend, like, ever, the community strongly advises that you don't post photos of yourself or videos of yourself unless you're, like, super popular, like you basically run the app or something, or you have a community that is more accepting of it around you. I didn't really have that. Like, I had a community, but it wasn't well organized, and I wasn't very good at handling, like, harassment or, like, destructive criticism, if you could call it that. So what ended up happening was, I would just kind of, I would handle it very poorly. On occasion, I guess I would cry, or at least be very sad by it. I was told, like, on my photos by, like, hundreds of people, actually, that, like, oh, you look ugly, you look horrible. They would always, like, say a bunch of things. They said, oh, you look like a mutant, stuff like that. And obviously, I didn't take it too well. And it just kind of made me depressed for, like, a year or two. Like, it just made me sad. It was just so, like, disheartening. I poured my heart and soul onto this community, and that's all I got back, and I often got beef for no reason at all, really. They just kind of, because I was a huge, like, cringe magnet for all these teenagers on these accounts, they would repost everything, and honestly, on iFunny, when I got, like, I call it the repost of death. It was basically, like, you got the kiss of death. You would get this big account, like, like X Vines, X or something, and they would, like, like these cringe-themed accounts would just republish your posts and then have all their fans go after you. And obviously, it sucked because this happened maybe once a month, once every couple of months. And it was just like, it was like, what's that one meme where it's like, babe, it's 4 p.m., time for your daily harassment, yes, honey, like it was basically that, but all the time. And then Kick was not a very friendly place because I decided, let me start some group chats on Kick, let me start some group chats here and there. iFunny would not have group chats until, like, way later, like 2019, I believe. So beforehand, you basically had to do everything on Kick. And when I had Kick, what ended up happening was I had like a 45, 47, maybe 49 person Kick group chat for, my account. And it was pretty, big, and it was pretty bustling. And unfortunately, Kick has hackers, and this is the most memorable incident that I had. What happened was an account came in, and it was like a Hank Hill theme from like King of the Hill profile picture. Came out of nowhere. They never got the invite. I have no idea how they got in. But what happened was they just somehow made themselves the moderator. I was the only mod, so it didn't really make sense to me how that happened, but it happened. So what ended up happening was they just kicked everybody out, even myself, and then replaced them with filler accounts. Just like 49 Hank Hill filler accounts. And they actually went over the limit of how many people could even go, like, in the group chat. So, like, I don't even know how they did that. I was the last person to be kicked out, so that's how I remember all this, but, like, I didn't understand how that was even possible. Or another instance of, when you're popular on iFunny was, I did get doxxed once, like, full-on doxxed. So what happened was, there was this account that I've never encountered in my life. They were making these very vague, like, threatening messages. And then out of nowhere, I just got a message that had, like, a link. I guess I got phished. I was a part of, like, a phishing scam. And then they sent me my own address. Now, I wasn't very aware of, like, how IP addresses worked. Like, at the time, I was very young. So, it confused me like crazy. But I got really scared, and I decided that I need to stop. So I think I just blocked them, and it's like, I got terrified. I had like a mini panic attack. And I think like a couple of years after, I did get a knife just in case, but that was more for like, because, I live in a more low-income community, so it's like, but to put it politely, I live in a ghetto. I basically live in one, and I accept it. But, you still want to carry just in case. That's only, if you're going to go on the street or something, you never know. And even then, some days it's like it's safe enough you can kind of go out on your own. I was a minor at the time. It was just, it was a life or death thing. I did value, like, my friends and my family, so it's like I want to protect them if I can. But anyway, so my iFunny basically, after the first feature, I felt basically done. Like, I made it. I was the account. I was the furry account. There were a couple furries that made it on iFunny in terms of features. Basically, the end goal of iFunny is to be featured. Think of it like Minecraft. In Minecraft, when you kill the Ender Dragon, for most people, that's basically the end of survival. For iFunny, the end of survival is basically just getting featured. And I got featured twice over the span of, like, the many years I was on there. And I had amassed, like, 4,100 subscribers by my peak, so it's like, I had, like, 1,000 days logged even in activity, so it's like, you know what? I made it, I'm done. So I just kind of, like, I'm in, like, the post-iFunny world now, where it's like, I can be cynical, I can basically say whatever, I can recount my old stories. One I remember was I got raided, like, a ton, as I mentioned before. One raid had, like, this very large Vine account, another one I got, like, another large Vine account. I basically got all these, like, this was back when Vine was still big, so all these big Vine accounts would post, like, cringe and stuff. It was always, like, furries involved. Like, always, almost. Or at least some pretty cringy, like, just whatever was in the cringe comps of that day. I think that's a good description. I did get threats a few times, or at least I got almost phished. I remember I would always get, like, random, unsolicited Kick messages. And they were always, like, people pretending to be Kick moderators, and then, like, asking for my login to my iFunny or my Kick, and it never made sense to me why they wanted it. I guess they just wanted to get rid of my account. But yeah, I would always have, like, people trying to log in or impersonate me. Or I remember a couple times I was actually stalked on my Google, like, full-on Google or Facebook. By the way, the etiquette of iFunny is never, ever, ever have your Facebook linked to the account. That is, like, the worst thing you can ever do, because if you're ever in an argument, they're just going to make a video of you, like your account, and then go on your Facebook and then either harass you on that Facebook, record it, record how cringy you are, at least to the iFunny masses, or just go to your parents even. I remember that a couple times. But yeah, in terms of handling fame, yeah, I was the big fish in the small pond. Nobody really knew of me outside of iFunny. iFunny was kind of a very insular community, and I very much accepted that. That's just how things were. And it kind of stayed that way. Like, nothing really from iFunny has really ever leaked to Twitter, or really ever leaked to, like, Instagram. It just kind of stayed within itself. On occasion, you might see, like, Vine, or I guess you could say Coob had that stuff, but that was about it. It wasn't really anything meaningful. But yeah, I made it at, like, during, like, my high school days, and it felt very surreal looking back how popular I was, and I didn't really even recognize it until, like, when I invited to the podcast, I felt important, but I didn't realize, like, I thought I was, like, an up-and-comer. I didn't realize, like, oh, I peaked until, like, I became an adult. That's when I realized I made it. My Tumblr, too, is just kind of like an affiliate of the iFunny. That's basically what it was. I would often post, like, stuff that I couldn't fit really onto iFunny on there, or basically link a ton of things. But that's basically what it was. And I think around, like, the tail end of my iFunny experience, I had basically just posted, just stuff from Furry IRL. That's basically what it became. Or at least I would find cool stuff on Furry Affinity and posted there, or cool stuff from Twitter. I actually had a lot of Twitter screenshots on the account. But yeah, in terms of maturity, I would suggest a couple things to anybody who, like, ever wants to be popular, or if you are popular right now and you're starting to recognize it on any medium. I have a very toughened idea. I had, like, maybe 8,500 followers and maybe, like, max 550,000 impressions on all of the mediums I've been on. Have a secure password, because there are people who will just hate you for being a furry, or hate you for your beliefs, or hate you for whatever, and they want to destroy your account. And what happened in my case was there was a period of time where I could not get my old name back. I did miraculously. I'll actually say it in a moment. So what happened was, when I got banned initially, I'd actually changed my iFunny name to something else. So when it changed and it got banned, the original one, the second one had, like, I added some letters to it at the end. I think it was like RTF, which meant Remember the Fallen, because a lot of people on the iFunny community, especially furries, were banned in mass, basically. It was like a chunk of, like, semi-popular furries. They had all gotten banned at once from a raid, and I was the victim of it in, like, August or September of, like, 2015. So Furry Central, FC, had basically been under the control of a different account, the name. And I wanted it back, but it was an offensive account that owned it. So what ended up happening was, I basically had to have, like, a secondary name, where I had to, like, put, like, I think some stuff in the middle. But then some good news came of, like, and I did gain my fans back, by the way, so it wasn't, at least most of them, and I think I did recover entirely. But what ended up happening was, one day I was on Kick, and I got a message from, like, a random account, and they said, hey, I got this account under your name. I found it. I guess the guy who owned my name gave it to somebody else, and that guy was nice enough to message me and tell me, like, hey, do you want your name back? And I'm like, awesome, like, hell yeah. And I gotten it back. So basically, I returned to being myself, my old account name. And it was great, and I felt so happy, and I posted, like, it was kind of like my small revival, like my semi-revival to iFunny, for, like, definitely a hot minute. And, I got bored of it because, I'd already made it later on, so, I just kind of abandoned it after that, because it wasn't really fun anymore. iFunny just kept getting worse, like, every year. It felt like the community just got worse and worse, and it's horrible now. Like, I went back on recently. I'm going to make a video on it very soon. It was basically about, like, how bad the app has gotten. And it's just horribly, like, it's unironically, like, racist and, like, anti-Semitic. Like, not like just jokes, bro. Like, not even dog whistles anymore. Some are just flat out admitting it now. And it's like, I remember when, like, that one app with the white supremacist people, I forgot the name of the forum, but when they had gotten banned, it was a sudden, like, uptick of those people on iFunny, like out of nowhere, right after I think the FBI had to shut down the website over there. And even, like there's certain agencies now investigating iFunny because of all the incidents that have been going on such a small app. But anyway, I'm going off topic here. So for handling fame, I remember, so my fame got me stalked, my fame got me harassed, I got like thousands of hate comments over the years, and my mental health declined for periods of time, so it definitely sucked. I did not enjoy it for most of it. Looking back, I did have rose-colored glasses of, talking to like the big furries on the app at the time, and I remember I'm actually currently kind of in talks with the largest iFurry account on iFunny. So what happened was the largest iFunny account basically just left. He's on Instagram now. So what happens is on iFunny, when you made it, you leave. And a good example is, I apologize if I messed up, but Fuse Raccoon, I'm not sure what it's called, but he made it. He was the largest account, and he had Vine, he had Twitter, he had iFunny, and he made it big on iFunny. I remember like maybe 3,500 subscribers or more, and he made it so big, he just left. Or I remember Booker Foxa had a iFunny, or an iSochi too. They all made it. They all made it big. They had huge followings. I remember one of them even had an iFunny shirt, which is kind of cringe if you're like really in the iFunny community for many years. It's like, oh, you support the app. To enjoy iFunny is to hate it. That's basically what it is. Like, a true iFunnier despises their own app. Yeah, but he had that, and he made a big following, and then he just went to Twitter and even YouTube for a bit. So, and this has happened to normie iFunny too. They'll just make it big and leave. I never left. I'm like the guy who just stayed in the minor leagues forever. And I decided, you know what? I think it's time to move on. Because iFunny sucks. I may continue to stay on it just because, like, I made such a large following. But, it sucks now. Like, there's nothing redeemable about the app. It's just, there's nothing... Like, yeah, I made it. Like, iFunny was my platform, basically. Like, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the person I am today without it. But I think that's more the furry fandom, not necessarily the app. But anyway, I did get confronted a few times in real life about it when I was younger. It was basically people, because, I was very show-offish and I wanted the account to be the biggest thing ever. I was young. I didn't have much else going for myself at the time. So what I did was I advertised it at school, and never do that, by the way. I was a very cringy person already at the time to most teenagers. All the immature boys just kind of made fun of me for it. I was a big laughing stock. I remember people threatened to beat me up once. It was not fun, I was basically the laughing stock of my school. I was a laughing stock of iFunny. It's not fun. So have thick skin. That's the second thing I'd recommend. And third... try to keep your personal life and your furry life separated if you think that it's going to cost you a lot of social capital. So that's the third rule. Fourth rule, I would say is... be able to take criticism, because I did take a lot in my day. Even within the furry fandom, I do take a lot of flack, because I did some stuff that I probably wasn't supposed to at that age. So, just a heads up. But, yeah, so also, never raid. Never, ever raid. It's immature. It doesn't do anything meaningful. The people come back anyway. It doesn't do anything. It's like a mild inconvenience for the account. All you're doing is just annoying people. So yeah, so when handling fame, also, don't assume the fame is forever. I eventually got tired of iFunny, I moved on, and I transitioned over to Twitter. And Twitter's nice in some ways, but it's also bad in some ways, just like iFunny. And obviously, I'm a big fish. I'm a small fish now in a big pond. So that mental transition away from, like, everybody kind of knows you in the community to, like, nobody knows you, it was definitely very surreal. And don't take it too hard, because you will eventually, you'll gain an audience. Maybe it could be a better audience. It likely will be. It's a new start. It's a new chapter. So think of fourth rule or fifth rule or whatever. Think of every new app as a new opportunity to make good acquaintances, to make new friends, maybe even make a long-distance relationship. Everything is a new chapter in life. Always be optimistic about your apps. Also, never assume it's going to last forever, and here's why. Apps change, apps get deleted, apps get sold, apps merge, apps separate. I wanted to be a very big Vine furry. I did have a very small but noticeable audience on the app, and when the app discontinued, I had nowhere else to go, really. I mean, I could have went to YouTube, and I kind of did for like 2 videos, and that was it. I just kind of gave up. But, now I'm back. I welcome all of you on my journey, all 10 of you right now. Maybe there's more. I believe my analytics said I had 56 views over like the last day. So I do thank you all for supporting me on this new chapter of The Fox's Corner, this new chapter of Bry Fox here. Thank you. I really do thank all of you. And my voice is a little hoarse. I know I'm a fox, but I sound hoarse. Aha. No fur balls today, that's a good thing. But yeah, so for minors on Twitter or for Affinity or anywhere, I would suggest, be careful. Obviously be careful. Your fame can be weaponized because everybody's going to assume that you are a bad person because you have a large following, and that's not true at all. But also at the same time, be humble. Understand that it's just some numbers. You're not better than people just because you're not above people just because you have a large following. Be down to earth. Understand that there are small furries that are great people. Most of the friends I had on iFunny were smaller people, and that was fine. And I'm okay with Twitter. I'll follow big, I'll follow small. I don't just see large accounts anymore. I just see accounts. Also, don't be shy of going around bigger accounts. If they're busy, that's fine. If they're not and they don't want to talk to you, maybe they're just tired after a long day. Furries are hard workers. There are some lazy people, but there are some long shift furries. I've met furries that worked 70 hours a week. It's ridiculous. There's a lot of hustlers. There's a lot of foxes. There's a lot of people. Respect the grind. That's how it is. If you're younger, understand that, it's superficial and it won't last. So make the most of it while you still can. Because when it's over, it's over. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. You had a lot of fun. You had a lot of memories. You have a lot of stories to tell. I recall having iFunny beef with some of the largest accounts, and it was kind of fun looking back. I mean, it was very depressing now, but it was very fun, and I loved every moment of it. Tumblr too had a lot of drama in its day. I was there for 2013, 2015 or 16. Actually, no, 2015 to 2017. And I had very young, cringy, furry posts. So, here's the thing. If you cringe at your past self, it's because you grew up. You had a lot of experiences, and that's fine. And also say to minors in fame, be careful. There are some older furries that will take advantage of you. There are some groomers out there that don't have good intentions, your fame will make you a target for bad people. Remember, trash piles. Just, be very selective, be very careful. And if you feel uncomfortable by a very older furry, then, just block and try to avoid them. I mostly hung around adults, and, I took some risks because of that. I understand now that not every older furry is the most kind or the most, the most responsible. I have met some very irresponsible furries that are much, much older. Also, be mature about it. Don't take everything personally, because I remember if they don't respond to you right away, they don't want to ignore you, they're just busy. And even then, you're not entitled to talk to them. I mean, I had a lot of people wanted to talk to me at my peak on iFuddy. And it actually took up most of my day at one point, because I had to juggle school. I wanted a part-time job around the time, so, it was a struggle. By the way, I never found work, so, in this economy, as the Dad Fox says. But yeah, for Tumblr, I would recommend stay out of any unnecessary drama. Don't start stuff. I never started stuff on iFunny. I would always be on the defense. it looked fun, it looks appealing to start stuff, but it just seems like a lot of work. So, just a heads up. I would say if you're going to handle confrontation, be responsible, be professional, be mature about it, and have caution. If you have furries around you, make the most of it, as in have a... if you want to have a furry posse in high school, that sounds awesome. Be the guy, be the fox. If you made it, you made it. If you're an adult, I don't think you need this advice as much, because I think most adult furries, at least by like 25, kind of know what they're doing when it comes to fame, because you've been on social media long enough to know like what to do. So you're fine. I'm saying this more to like furries like under 20 or under 18, because I understand that there's a very large community of underage furries who are very popular. I remember Musical.ly was like mostly like young girls, and I remember Vine was like younger furries. And also for fame, be careful who you hang around, but also be careful what you do, because a lot of your actions are going to be done around like very loyal fans who love and adore you. But you can, that power imbalance, that power dynamic is not very even, and they can be abusive, that like you can potentially be abusive and not even realize it because you're so young and inexperienced. Just be careful. People have gotten hurt. A lot of people got groomed and they weren't open about it. That's why every week we're seeing the stories. Don't learn. Also, if you want to like have a long-term impact in the community that's very positive, I would say look to the past. Look what happened to the furries that rose and fell. I'm not going to give any specific names, but, look at the Vine community. Look what happened. Some were zoos, some were groomers, some were just overall bad people. I understand that everybody's perfect. We're all humans. We're all anthropomorphic animals here. We're all foxes. But we have to be very careful, because our actions do have long-term consequences. And a lot of people who did very bad actions, now we know, like the rose-colored glasses of the days of Vine are off. The rose-colored glasses of Musical.ly are off, although I don't really know that many Musical.ly furries that ended up doing bad things, but oh well. I guess you could say the same thing for YouTube now. YouTube's more old, it's more perpetual. Furries come and go. Some furries are in their peak right now. Some furries are past their peak. Some furries have not made it to their peak. Maybe that's me even. But, just be careful. Be responsible. Be mature. I think that's everything I could really say to the minor furries here. If you're going to start a channel, I'd also recommend be careful with your guests, too. I mean, I'm going to be a little more lenient to my guests just because, it's very new and stuff. I have to be very, I can't be very picky at the moment, which is fine. I mean, I'm a little more on the free speech side of things just because, I think furries have a lot to say, and I don't want to crush that. I want to hear what people have to say, even if I don't like it. And if I really, really don't like it, well, then I'll just say it. If I see BS, I call it out. But, that's just how, I guess, debate works or whatever. But, yeah. There's my fur ball. There we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the Daily Furball. Okay. By the way, don't be scared of changing mediums, as I've already said. You can make it on any app. Just be authentic, too. Show your talents. Be authentic. Be yourself. Be you. I'm going to be my foxy self. And if you can't handle it, too bad, All right, I think this should conclude the episode for Fame. If you have any comments about maybe your experiences of being on the larger side of the furry fandom, maybe you're large in a small niche community that you're not aware of. I was definitely large with certain segments of the furry population, which is fine. Maybe you're larger with, very specific corners. If you have any experiences, comment down below. If you have any negative stories, maybe some horror stories, comment down below. I certainly have a couple that I could not mention. If you have any larger stuff, if you have any ambitions even, comment down below. I mean, if you ever want to hear something cringy, just remember I told myself at 13 that I wanted to be a popper and I wanted to graduate in the most expensive fursuit ever. So, sometimes life comes at you fast. What's that one SpongeBob meme where it's like, wow, you were so young and impressionable. And it's like the photo of the guy who worked at the store and now he looks sad and depressed. Yeah, that's basically me right now. But yeah, yip yap, here we are. It's okay. Comment, like, even if it's kind of cringy, it's okay. It's okay to comment down below how you felt at the time. We've all been in middle school. We've all had big dreams. We've all had unrealistic dreams. I certainly have my own. But yeah, that should be it for this Monday. I filmed in advance because I'm a very busy fox. This fox has FAFSA, so, definitely a good chunk of my day will be taken out tomorrow. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. This is your favorite Foxy Fails son, Bri Fox, signing out for today. We will see you tomorrow with our great guest, Mastro. He will be talking about money, and I do like money, so, speaking of money, don't forget to go to the Patreon, because this fox has to, this fox is broke. Anyway, that should be it for today. Bye, and yip yap.